The Jordanian military killed every man, woman, and child that they could. Remember, the news coverage was not there at that time. So when it's Arab on Arab, the media is suddenly absent. That is not justifying the killing of men, women, and children, but you better know the whole story before you start talking about a snapshot. You need to look at the motion picture rather than snapshots. Snapshots can be very deceptive. Again, I want to reiterate, the Black September uprising of 1970, which occurred when the Palestinian visitors to Jordan attempted to overthrow the king of Jordan and take over the country, resulted in more Palestinian deaths than all the Palestinian deaths combined in all of the actions with Israel. I don't think you know that. And that's because of the vermin in the media who don't know it themselves or don't want you to know it. But it goes back to the question that I raised at the beginning of the show. Was Israel right to retaliate with airstrikes for the rocket attacks from Gaza? You know, Israel got kicked in the teeth, it got kicked in the groin, it got kicked in the behind, it got kicked in the ribs. For months, the Palestinians have been dancing and doing the horror over there in the Gaza Strip and everywhere else, saying that the Jew is no longer able to fight, no longer willing to fight, the Jew is weak, the Jew is decadent, the Jew's hands are tied. They kept kicking and kicking and kicking and kicking. There's also the Iranian connection. In my opinion, and I have no way to know this or not, Ahmadinejad is behind the Palestinian uprising in the Gaza Strip. I also believe that Israel is sending a very strong message to both Ahmadinejad, the Hitler of our time, and his bearded, psychotic mullahs in Iran, that they will be targeted next. And when they kill the mullahs and Ahmadinejad, which they might do, by the way, the Iranian people will rejoice in the streets. The women will be free once again, and the country of Iran will be able, once it is liberated, to lead a modern life instead of being torn back into the 15th century by these psychopathic little men who hate the world. The fact of the matter is, I believe Israel is on the verge of striking Iran. I will give you another element to this whole story, and another reason I came in today to give you my opinion, for whatever it may be worth, for my listeners. I believe that this is a result of Bush's disappearing from the world scene. I totally believe that the Obama administration, not the Bush administration, has given the Israelis had given the Israelis the green light for this Gaza action. The Bush administration is owned lock, stock, and barrel by the Saudis. That explains virtually everything Bush has done from the minute he took office, from his relative inaction on 9/11, all the way down the line. Bush seems to be an appendage of the Saudis. I need only refer to the famous picture of our dear president walking by the pinky held by the king of Saudi Arabia, King Faisal at the time. I believe that Obama certainly gave the Israelis the green light. There's no question in my mind that the Israelis discussed this with the highest level of our government, including the incoming administration. And there's no question in my mind that the Democrats are certainly more in favor of Israel's sovereignty than was Bush the Quisling. I'll be right back.
Talk 910 KNEW. Here's Michael Savage.
There are other stories. I mean, I asked the question, was Israel right to retaliate with airstrikes for the rocket attacks from Gaza? You'll say, well, it's not proportionate. Well, what do you want them to retaliate with? Stones? You provoke a giant. You keep poking a giant. The giant's eventually going to slap you. And it's the same with America. We are being provoked around the world. There's no question in my mind that Obama, I'm going to make a prediction, Obama's administration is going to be far more militant than anyone in America thinks. I may be the only one who remembers the Democrats very well. The Democrats have gotten us into many wars, maybe rightly so. But the Democrats are far more militant than the Republicans, who are compromised up and down the xylophone. The Republicans have been compromised for so long, they're an indecipherable party. Nobody knows exactly who owns the Republican Party, where their loyalties lie, etc. Whereas the Democrats are pretty clearly tied to the three I's. And that goes to the race in New York with Carolyn Kennedy. I mean, she's been known as Carolyn Schlossberg for 10 years now. But suddenly when she wants to be senator, suddenly she's Caroline Kennedy. I think she'd be better off running as Caroline Schlossberg than Caroline Kennedy. But there's a saying in New York politics that a candidate must know the three I's to win in New York City. The three I's being Italy, Ireland, and Israel. And I'm not so sure that Caroline Schlossberg Kennedy can deal with all three of those I's. But let's see if we can deal with the Middle East. A question, again, was Israel right to retaliate with airstrikes for the rocket attacks from Gaza? Is it proportionate? Jeannie, Joplin, Missouri, go ahead. You're on the Savage Nation. Go ahead, please.
Well, I just don't think that they started soon enough. I think they should have never given back the Gaza Strip. I just returned home from Israel the first part of November, and the thing I found amazing, the people were friendly enough in both sides, but from Jordan to Israel, but what I found amazing was you go through the Arab side, and it's filthy. As soon as you cross over the border into Israel, everything is clean. The streets are clean. I think the Palestinians simply will not make peace. They have been...
Well, the saddest part of this whole story to me is that the children in the Palestinian territories have been brainwashed from childhood to hate Jews and to kill them. How in the world can you make peace with a people that instills in their children such hatred and such homicidal rage?
Exactly. You'll never have...
So I don't have a solution. I've said on this show that there should be a Palestinian state. I've said it for years now, that there's no denying the fact that you have to have a two-state solution. Right now, I'm not so sure it could ever work. And that is because of the crazies who will never, ever live in peace with the Jews. Never. It's a biblical story. These people have been at war with each other going back to the Bible. As you may know the Bible, coming from Missouri, I'm sure you do. And I don't have to tell you the story of the two brothers in the Bible, do I?
No.
And how does that story end?
Not with
Only
me.
God knows, because this is a new story. 1-800-449-8255. 1-800-449-8255. MichaelSavage.com has many links up on the website today. I'm not going to read you all the stories. I'll get to them a little later. Some of them are really fabulous. They have nothing to do with this topic that I think you should look at. The best story on there is the picture of me cooking a duck on the bottom of michaelsavage.com, holding a bottle of champagne. And although many people have tried to cook my goose this year, it is almost December 31st, and thus far they've not achieved their goals. But I can safely say that on Saturday night I cooked my duck, and man, did it come out good. I cannot say that the duck de l'orange came out the way I wanted it. The skin did not. But the duck meat was perfect. It couldn't be better. It took so long that I drank the entire bottle of champagne. And I did find out that my dog Teddy loves Dom Perignon. I must tell you that. I drink it seldom, but when I drink champagne, I only drink that. I don't like Cristal. I hate it. I get sick from it. It's poison. The champagne grape that the Frenchies use in the Dom Perignon is the best. No hangover. I don't understand it. My liver likes Dom. That's all I can say. But the duck, Savage's duck is cooked. And a little later on today on the show, since it's a family show, and since we're still officially in the holiday times, I'm going to give you some safe food handling tips. You say, oh, who needs to know that? I want to hear about Israel. No, I'm going to give you some safe food handling tips. It's very important for you to understand little things like do not defrost poultry or other foods at room temperature. Defrost in the refrigerator or in the microwave because microbes can breed when you defrost at room temperature. Your mother didn't tell you that, did she?
Savage.